This outbreak has revealed the WHO as nothing more than a Chinese Communist front, and you will understand in the next few minutes. We've been watching this for a while, and some things really started to bother me and my staff. We noticed as we studied what was happening in the coronavirus in China for about a month, and we thought, wait a minute, what is exactly happening? They knew everything about it, how it spread, how fast it spread, fatality rate, everything. China knew how dangerous it was, and they were getting terrified of getting the blame. So they had their front man, the WHO, tell the world, no worries, guy. The virus doesn't even travel human to human. That was their first mistake. Then there was their public statement attesting to that, backing up their overlords in China. I can't believe this tweet hasn't been deleted yet, but it hasn't been. It shows the pure arrogance that they feel so protected. They seriously don't feel like they will ever be held accountable, and they probably won't. A month after parroting the lies from their bosses in China, the WHO was in rapid PR mode, telling the world that no one had to restrict travel from China. Now, I want you to notice the date here. It's February 3rd. This is the exact same day the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs released a statement criticizing the United States for restricting travel to China. Let me quote, "Most countries appreciate and support China's efforts to fight against the novel coronavirus, and we understand and respect them when they adopt or enhance quarantine measures at border entry. But in the meantime, some countries, the U.S. in particular, have inappropriately overreacted, which certainly runs counter to the WHO advice," end quote. Wow, they were always quick to reference their frontmen over at the WHO. And we started to think, what is going on over there? In fact, the Chinese Communist Party mentions the unwavering support they get from the WHO repeatedly during this press release. Now, this is one of my favorites. Let me quote exactly. As the WHO Director General noted, China is setting a new standard for outbreak responses. Oh boy, were they. They were not lying. The head of the WHO has been very, very consistent in his praise for how China reacted to the outbreak. You know, never mind imprisoning the doctors and the journalists who tried to get the truth out. Never mind the forced lockdowns, the welding of people into their homes for crying out loud. And definitely never mind the lies to cover everything up. That is part of the operation that WHO is there to kick dirt over. By mid-February, the world was starting to get nervous about coronavirus. At this point, the WHO had already helped China lie about how the virus spread human to human. So they were running their PR, so no one criticized their heavy-handed measures to contain it. And they were publicly criticizing any country, especially the U.S., that restricted any travel to or from China. All of this when they should have been doing, I don't know, their job to stop the virus. Oh, but they weren't finished. Apparently, their Chinese masters didn't like the name that was being assigned to the virus, the Wuhan coronavirus. It hit a little too close to home for them, despite being the standard for virus naming for over a century. But the WHO, as the lapdogs that they are, and we will show you why in a minute, they fell right in line with China's demands. Instead of concentrating on stopping the spread of the virus, the WHO chief instead focused on finding a politically correct way of saying Wuhan virus, thus the birth of the newborn baby child COVID-19. And the media, I love this line from the BBC, may I quote, "Researchers have been calling for an official name to avoid confusion and any stigmatism that would be attached to any group or country." Oh, really? That's what researchers were worried about at the time? As tens of thousands were getting sick and the virus was spreading all over the globe, the experts were worried about China getting stigmatized? Researchers? Translates to the Chinese Communist Party. Here's the statement from the head of the WHO. "We had to find a name that didn't refer to a geographic location or animal or individual or group of people and which is also pronounceable and related to the disease. Having a name matters to prevent the use of other names that can be inaccurate or stigmatizing. Oh, okay. Here's an idea. Why don't you stop the virus and stop worrying about political correctness?